All right, welcome back to season 3 of Driving Performance. I'm your co-host, Tom Shea, one of the co-founders of Adgile.
And I'm your other co-host, Max Flannery, another co-founder of Adgile.
We're excited to introduce Avery Hairston. By way of introduction, Avery is a marketing leader with a passion for transforming how we eat. He currently serves as the VP Marketing of Ayoh Foods, an up-and-coming food startup making waves with its line of bold, flavor-packed mayos and sauces. Avery's entrepreneurial journey began when he became the first employee at Banza in 2014, where he helped the brand grow from the ground up in Detroit. Avery, welcome to Driving Performance.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So I like to start these all the same way. For our audio-only listeners, how would you describe what is happening right now?
Wow. Audio only. We are in a glass truck, apropos of Adgile truck advertising, of course. For our audio listeners, it's a little tight in here.
It is a little tight.
Tom and I are 6'4" with really broad shoulders. And
Thanks for that. My Hinge profile said otherwise back in the day, but let it slide.
but yeah, excited to be here.
Well, so I like to start these all the same and talk about the structure of the podcast. So as we are in a truck, there's a few different stops along our route today. Stop 1 is going to be the personal story. So all things Avery pre the professional environment, all the inflection points and things that brought you to where you are today. Then we're going to dive deep with stop 2 on the professional story. So your time at Banza, your time at W, and now your time as employee number 1 at Ayoh. Then we're going to hit stop 3, a game we call the Hot Box, a tongue-in-cheek rip-off of the Hot Seat, where we're going to ask you some this or that style questions. And then stop 4, it's going to be our outro. We'll conclude. We'll let people know where they can go find and connect with you, find Ayoh in store, things like that. So I want to kick off, Avery, talking about the personal story. So pre-Banza, pre-W, pre-Ayoh. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, all the things and inflection points that led you down the path to where you're at today.
Definitely. Born and raised in New York, to a very food-focused family. My older brother's a chef.
Okay.
My mom and dad are both great cooks and just like cook every meal at home.
Shout out to the Hairston.
Shout out to the Hairstons. The Nugget spot now in Chatham, New Jersey. Go get some. And then, so food has always been a big part of my life. And then my mom actually professionally was a marketer through her whole career. My dad worked in entertainment as well. So have kind of always gravitated towards like the marketing world.
Sure.
And then doubled down on the food thing my senior year of college. I went to Cornell, I was an art history major actually, but I took a bunch of like hotel school hospitality classes.
Sure.
And was kind of obsessed with like this idea of following my brother's footsteps, helping him launch a restaurant, doing that whole game. And my mom was like, we can't have two, of our kids working next to the same.
A lot of exposure.
Yeah, a lot of concentration risk. So I was like, all right, next best thing, I'm going to work in the food industry in CPG, which I came to realize a lot less sexy than restaurants, but still like the marketing side is about as close to the hospitality side of the coin and like interacting with customers as you can get in the industry. So it kind of has scratched that itch for me.
Yeah, nice. And so tell me about the parents. What professionally, what did they do? Are there any clear tie-ins to where you ended up?
They met at Showtime.
Okay.
Back in the early days of Showtime. And then my mom went on to do marketing at MTV and the NFL.
Wow. And
So like kind of grew up at her hip at dinner, learning about like the problems that those giant companies were facing on the marketing side.
right. That I can see the like media and marketing influence from an early age, but that could have gone to any category. It could have gone to SaaS. It could have gone to down the entertainment and media route. It could have been our world, but it ended up in consumer. How do you think that played out, or why did that play out?
The long and true story, but I'll try and make it as quick as possible, is I really knew I wanted to be in startups.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate. And so I joined this post-grad program called Venture for America, which is kind of like Teach for America.
Shea.
Yeah, hey. Touche.
That's right. Whoa.
Trademark that one.
That'd be a good clip.
Yeah. Anyway, so I joined Venture for America right after college. It's a 2-year post-grad program, kind of like Teach for America, but for startups. You go in different cities that are not like, your typical New York LA, Boston, DC
Yeah.
route, and it's trying to like reroute the flow of human capital away from banking and consulting and towards startups, which at the time, 2014, it's like, it was hard to break into startups.
Right.
You know, it was not as easy as it is today and not as ubiquitous as it is today. So it was a path for that. And through that, I was able to interview with a bunch of different startups in Detroit, New Orleans, Cleveland. Ended up joining as the first employee for a startup that was founded by a VFA fellow 2 years before me, Brian Rudolph. And so I moved out to Detroit, and I was like, it's perfect. It's part of the VFA program. It's food. Let's go.
Yeah. And that company is
Banza.
Banza. And so tell us about how that arc plays out. So you graduate VFA, you go to Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how early are we talking Banza at this point?
My first week, I think, was the week that we launched. So
tell us about the story of that brand. I mean, at this point, it's ubiquitous, everyone knows it. But at that point, tell us about the founders. Like, why did they start it? All those things.
Yeah, the founders are Brian and Scott Rudolph. I gotta dust off my like old Banza media training. Brian was making the recipe in his kitchen by hand, you know, for maybe a year or two before actually starting Banza. He had recently gone gluten-free, kind of celiac, or not quite, but pretty close, and found that all the pastas in the market were just super hard to cook, really crappy tasting. They didn't like actually replicate that experience of eating traditional pasta. There were some solid brands out there, but they were like very much for a gluten-free customer. And as he started to make it and realize chickpeas are like a really great comp for like durum wheat flour, he could, you know, grow this into something more than just a gluten-free pasta business.
Banza, are you employee number one at that point?
Yeah.
And so do you join traditionally in a marketing role, or is it one of those things where it's so early where you're literally just doing everything and then eventually it goes down that path?
I would say it was a generalist role. I think my title was like business development or something like super random. But you know, the founders had their particular skill sets in like finance, sales, product, operations too. And also like marketing is the last thing that you need to keep the lights on. Like if you don't have a product, you can't do anything. If you don't have any money, you can't do anything. If you don't have any distribution, you can't do anything. Like, so they were focused on the, you know, most important stuff. And I think what fell to me was caring about day to day, like starting with customer service.
Right.
Like let's respond to all the people who, you know, just ordered and are asking where their shipment is.
Yeah.
But then there was a lot of different stuff, like a lot of field marketing, a lot of, you know, cold calling, different retailers asking when their like reset dates are.
Right.
This was before, you know, we could afford a broker or anything like that. So total crash course. Owe a lot to Brian and Scott. Just like shout out Brian and Scott. Learned a ton from them, and our COO Mike as well, Mike Chirulo. Learned a ton from him as well. Just like that was a training ground for me in my first 4 or 5 years at undergrad.
Yeah. How did that arc play out for the brand, and then where did your role end up as it grew?
Slow and steady retail distribution, I think, was like the anchor of, I would say, the narrative thread of the story, where it was always a retail play.
Right.
You know, we launched in Meyer, we launched in Italy our first year.
Ego.
Yes.
Wow.
And then it was like this methodical, you know, let's really prove out that this brand is more than just like a niche gluten-free product.
Right.
And so that was one of the main focuses that was tying the whole company together. Marketing, obviously, I led a rebrand for the brand and positioned it more towards like something that can stand against Barilla and
more accessible.
Yeah. And just more approachable to like the non-gluten-free customer. Everything that comes out now is like so crisp and clean. It's so competitive. But back then, like really stylish branding and like a really, you know, nice Instagram page was few and far between. It's like Big Food had not caught up on social yet. So there was like a ton of fun that you could have in a really scrappy way on social. So that was a big piece of the marketing engine as well. We were doing gifting and influencer before that like had a title and an industry to it, and people weren't sure, like, is this going to be a thing?
Yeah.
I remember having like debates internally about like, is this, is influencer going to last? There was the term creator didn't exist, TikTok didn't exist, Instagram was 2 years old.
Right.
So
crazy to think about.
So that was like just learning these new sort of tech-enabled platforms as the business grew was also just an interesting time to be in, like, that vintage of CPG businesses. And then I think from a sales perspective, it was all about, we've got to grow this thing the right way, which means we're going to say no to certain retailers if they're going to put us 2 facings in a gluten-free set amongst like crackers and cookies.
Yeah.
And we want 4 facings, 8 facings, 2 shelves in mainline pasta, or we're not doing it. And so it was about making case studies, creating retailer marketing playbooks, and saying, hey, we just did this at Fairway. Let's try this at ShopRite.
Right.
Hey, Kroger, we just did this at
Brick.
ShopRite.
Yeah.
It was very much brick by brick.
Yeah.
A lot of demos.
So let's talk about the next phase. What was the decision tree in your head as you're thinking about leading a brand that's objectively, like, you're leaving the party while the party's still going, right? And that's always the easy thing to do.
Yeah. Definitely had moments where I was like, oh, should I have stayed? Because it kept cruising. And I think for me, I know when to leave when sort of like the learning curve starts to flatten.
Yeah.
And I was so steep in the early days. I was so spoiled by that. And I think, 5 years in, I was doing a lot of the same campaign work. And,
Yeah.
5 years at a CPG startup, especially in that era, is
Dinosaur.
yeah, it ages you.
Yeah.
So I was ready for something new. I knew I wanted to like pair that experience with some more traditional, like foundational business learning. So I actually went to business school right after Banza. Did some freelance work for a few emerging brands in the CPG space. Wanted to get out of food and try other stuff. So I helped out Starface.
Nice. Shout out Brian.
Yeah, Brian's a mentor of mine, and ended up consulting for a D2C dog food company.
Which one?
Sundays for Dogs.
Hey, shut up. Adgile Brian.
Yeah. Hello.
Launches in 3 weeks.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
That's right.
So great team over there. Biggest team I have ever worked for in my career. It was, I think, 15 or 20 people when I joined. I joined as like the head of brand and product marketing.
Also very different D2C native.
Yeah.
Like through
and through. No retail. Which for me, I was like, this is checking the box.
Right. And back to the curve.
Getting back to the curve for sure.
Yeah.
And also a new consumer. And I kind of wanted to prove to myself, like, I could market something that I wasn't passionate about. Like, I'm not a dog owner. I'm not a huge pet guy.
Right.
And so that was like something I had actually gotten from my mom. She worked at the NFL doing marketing and never.
I think sometimes the best operators are the outsider that comes in and has no interest or bias towards the product itself.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the next chapter.
Nice. All right. So the next chapter after that, are we at W?
We are at W.
So tell me how that all comes together.
So my buddy, Woody Hilliard, shout out Woody.
Was
on
last week.
Nice. He and I have always kind of gone back and forth. I've known him for like 10 years about starting a company one day. And he's just a great CPG marketer and leader. And he calls me up one day, we're shooting the shit, and he's like, I'm starting this new company with this guy, Jake Paul. It's launching, next year. We need a head of marketing. He's about to have this massive year. I know it's kind of crazy, but like, would you want to, let's do some consulting and see if like it turns into something more permanent, and it did.
Yeah.
So I was there like 6 months pre-launch.
And first employee.
Yeah.
A theme. Theme is emerging.
I need to find another way.
Yeah.
For my own sanity. But that again was like something I couldn't say no to. Totally new customer. Historically for me, it was like millennial female.
Right.
Over-indexing on the coasts.
Right.
I would say. And then this was, Walmart.
Yeah.
$6 product, $7 product.
And so tell the audience about W.
W is a line of men's personal care products. Jake saw a white space in the men's personal care aisle, specifically, around the Gen Z customer. So guys our age, obviously, we know the smell of Axe.
Yeah.
And
Old
get
Spice.
nauseated by it.
Yeah.
But Old Spice too. But like these brands are incredible brands, incredible distribution, and like are the brands that our generation reached for when we were first starting our personal care journeys in the shower and then bathroom. So this was like, how do we make Axe for the next generation? In kind of this internet age, and Jake, obviously is the perfect person for that type of product too. So it was like such a authentic synergy for that.
Yeah. So unmask that a little bit for the audience. Like, what was it like teaming up with Jake Paul? Like, how would you describe him as an operator, as a person?
I always say it depends on who I'm talking to, but Jake is smarter than he lets on.
Yeah.
And kinder than he lets on.
I believe that.
He was
a performer.
Yeah.
Half of the games like putting on I would imagine he's played very different in real life.
Yeah. This is when I like out Jake as a total softie.
Yeah.
He would be like the last person to speak in a meeting to give a point. So I learned a lot. I thought I went in knowing a lot about, social and content, and it was a crash course from him.
Yeah.
And his team too. It was intense at the same time, like the pace that he moves at, where he's like filming an HBO show and training for Tyson and has 3 other businesses over here. It's like the dude and his team are like, I remember when I was in my 20s type of energy, and that was definitely intense, but it was cool to step into that like creator-led CPG game that I feel like has kind of blown up recently, and like what a great crash course for that for me.
Yeah, and so tell us about the launch. So nationwide, immediately at Walmart, kind of just like speed running the entire experience relative to the Banza, which was like brick by brick by brick.
Yeah,
that's like flipping the script completely. What was that experience like for you?
We launched 27 products in Walmart nationwide. Yeah, across like 9 different categories. It was building I hate the metaphor, but it's true. Building the truck as we drive it.
There we go.
And like also against this backdrop of like Jake and his expectations and his team's expectations, which are up here, right? He's doing stuff up here. He's on Netflix. Like the brand needs to be operating at his caliber. So it had that like intensity and pace to it too. But yeah, building the whole engine, and testing it in real time.
What do you think the hardest part of that experience was?
I think finding a way to go from awareness down through the funnel.
To the funnel.
Right? So like the primary purchaser
is it the parent?
Is the parent.
The child.
Yeah, is the parent. But obviously like the brand is geared towards the 12 to 25-year-old.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we learned that like at Banza a couple years in, that we were really marketing towards millennial female, which at the time was today's Gen Z.
Right.
For like the, taste making part of it.
Right.
But pasta consumption 10x's in the home once you have kids.
Right.
And so we should have been going after the then, early gens.
Mac and cheese, easy on the go.
Right.
Versus like, hey, we're the healthy skew.
Yeah. Thankfully, like the millennials aged into millennial mom, but at the time, I think it's just a good lesson in like know who your shopper is, not just your consumer.
Yeah.
No. Or not just the person that's giving you the engagement on social.
Right.
Like sometimes that's not a complete.
Yeah. I was asking of Jake Paul. How much did that impact the difficulty to get into Walmart nationwide?
It fueled it.
Yeah. So
he's the reason why we got
launched.
launched.
At Banza.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, he opened so many doors.
Did he get on the calls?
Yeah.
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 I bet you that race.
He was like in the top to top meetings.
Right.
And he asked like legit. I mean, you know, it's him. Like he's got an aura to him, but he is like elephant when it comes to remembering data and like asking questions and stuff. Yeah, I'm telling you, you'd be surprised.
Hey, we get him on season 4.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'm excited about this next one. So we are at stop 2. We're gonna get into Ayoh, which we proudly have presented here. So, Avery, I'm excited to talk about Ayoh. I think what's interesting here is the move from celebrity to creator. So I guess first off, let's talk about your story, how you ended up at Ayoh. And then I would love to talk a little bit about Molly Baz, first and foremost, her roots, her origin, and then into the product formulation and how she was able to take a community to follow and launch a product around it.
I was really keen on getting back into food.
Yeah.
Pretty much since I was in the pet food space, I was like, you know, I learned a lot there. I learned a lot at W, but, you know, dog food and deodorants are, you know, not lighting me up the way that food did and the way that Banza did. So that was kind of the impetus of like starting to look. And then a friend of mine is an investor of Sundays, also an investor of Ayoh. Put me into
Last season.
Yeah. There you go. Shout out Imaginary. Shout out Logan. And yeah, put me in touch with the founder, David. They were looking for a marketing hire, and we had a few great conversations, and the rest is history.
You're employee number 1 again.
Yeah.
You're just gonna, one of these days, you're just gonna have to start a company.
Mainlining the cortisol.
Yeah.
I like being like...
Mainlining the cortisol.
I like being the... Right, you know.
How much stress can I physically take on?
Can't be good for you.
Yeah. So tell us about Molly. For those who don't know her, how would you introduce her? And what's her kind of backstory? She's obviously a little bit different in that I think she leans more creator than celebrity.
For sure.
But tell us about Molly.
Molly, most people know Molly is a cookbook author, 2-time New York Times bestseller. She kind of, I think, got her start really in restaurants, but then quickly moved to Bon Appetit, where the test kitchen was popping off, and kind of rose to notoriety that way. Then spun out of there and had her own YouTube channel and had the 2 cookbooks come out to much fanfare. So she's tried and true, like a home cook that I think she says her life's mission is to just make it easier and less intimidating to cook great, delicious meals at home. So she was working on Ayoh before it was called Ayoh, but just like making the sauce, I think during COVID actually.
Okay.
And then she paired up with David, who is an amazing operator. He actually was like early days of his career was at Whole Foods, like working the grocery trucks.
Okay, all right.
And then rose up within Whole Foods to become a grocery director there. So he has like a lot of great CPG tactical knowledge.
You're probably like mental first party data.
Oh my God, yeah. You know? So they paired up, and then Ben, Molly's manager as well, are kind of the 3 co-founders of the business.
What do you think went into the decision to go, maybe it was David, honestly, or Ben, to go towards condiments?
She is self-proclaimed and backs it up a fiend for sandwiches.
Okay.
She had her own podcast about sandwiches before this. She's on record as a big proponent of sandwiches. I think a lot of people expected her to launch a Caesar salad dressing just because that's a big part of her brand. If you don't know her well, is like the Caesar salad kind of iconic dish, or say salad she calls it. But she's super, super passionate about sandwiches, and I think the fact that she was making mayos at home, and there was this kind of white space in the market for mayo. It hadn't been really reinvented since like Sir Kensington's in like the early 2010s. And sandwiches are just such a fun thing to market and sell. And it's way more fun to eat and market sandwiches than salads. Yeah, let's be honest. So yeah, that was the kind of impetus for like leaning into sandwiches and specifically condiments.
How did that launch go? I mean, I remember it pretty vividly.
Yeah, it went really, really well. I think they sold out maybe too quickly, but I think with Molly really getting a lot of people that trust her taste, and are the shopper,
Right.
And so they're following her because they want to know what she's
Yeah.
cooking, what recipes she's making, how is she doing it the way she's doing it.
Yeah.
So I think that all led to like, you know, people buying mayo online like they've never done before.
Well, yeah. It's D2C at this point, right?
D2C, and then a lot of really awesome like boutique shops, independents.
Yeah.
Not even like independents the way we think about independents in CPG, but like a coffee shop like the Elk, for example.
Right. All right, let's talk a little bit about the product. We have the products here. So, Avery, take us through what do we have here?
Yes, we have 3 flavors. We've got kind of what makes Ayoh special is that we chop up like real bits of real food ingredients into the product. So the mayos are full flavored, kind of chunky. They've got texture.
All right, like that.
They're in these like little tubular bottles that you might see at like a sandwich shop, and that's really the goal of Ayoh, is to bring that sandwich shop quality to your countertop. But we'll pop it open. I actually brought a sandwich.
Is it time?
It might. I mean,
It might be time for the
Live
live
now.
demo.
But let's see here.
So what do we got? What do we got for flavors?
Yeah,
Got original, obviously.
I got dill pickle.
What do you got?
I got hot giardiniera, which is like
I think that's the one I want to try.
chopped up giardiniera. Yeah, it's my favorite.
All right.
These are our 2 best sellers, though, the pickle and the hot giardiniera.
Live demo.
Live demo.
Ever on the Driving Performance podcast that we do live demo.
Shout out Jersey Mike's.
Shout out Jersey Mike's. Are they a client yet?
One day.
Will be
One
soon.
day.
It will
One
be
day.
soon after all this free exposure we get them.
Because the texture is so thick, we have a really big nozzle.
Okay.
So
It is big.
that there are a lot of brands that put mayo in a squeeze bottle, but I don't think it's
All right.
the nozzle is never meant
You
to
do
do
this
it.
together? What are we doing?
I'll eat it with you.
All right.
Yeah, let's put a little bit of that. You tell me when.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of like a maximalist, so, you know.
Let's get a little more on it.
More on it.
All right, and then like squish it around,
Yeah,
spread it.
a little rotate.
Mm-hmm. There you go. This is not your first sandwich.
My first sandwich. Max, you don't get anything. you want to try it?
No, thank
All right. For the camera. Cheers.
All right. Boom.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me. Mm.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. You get that ASMR. Do another bite.
We'll open it out. Open mouth chew.
It's really good. I think I like the chunkiness of it a lot. I've also long held that what is a sandwich other than a vessel for condiments?
You're hired.
When do I start?
I work for you now.
No, but it's really good. I want to try the versus dill. You open up the dill. We're going a little off script here, Avery, but we love a good live demo.
What are we missing?
And so, welcome to lunch at Driving Performance. I haven't eaten at all.
Not anyone.
This is kind of a pro move.
I texted Hannah. I was like, "What's his favorite sandwich?"
Kevin's over there, mouth dripping saliva. Yeah. All right. So, which is the more popular SKU? I know you said they're both heroes, or did one come before the other? So I like the Jardiniere because Chicago roots. I mean, I feel like that city made that famous.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would say dill is the lead
pretty
right now. Yeah, if you like dill pickle and that's like a cult following flavor, you'll love dill pickle now.
Damn, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
Double dip on that one. Yeah.
So the creative marketing.
Yeah, this is just UGC.
Thank you.
All right, that was delicious. Thank you for indulging us. I'm pouring all the bottles too, because I'm a broke founder. Okay, so let's talk about. You've seen celebrity, you've seen creator. What I've always liked about creator, one apart from there being like baseline authenticity, is I think I think they work really hard and they're really invested in it when they do launch something. I also think more importantly, they have a community in a way that celebrity may or may not. And I've seen that work. And I've always thought that creator, community is what buys you enough time to find which way the marketing winds are blowing. It's not like a solution. I don't think it's like a full out community can do like is everything. And I do think it's like one of the most important things, but I think it buys you time to figure out which way the winds are blowing so that you can recalibrate without just going out of business because you weren't able to move quick enough. You've seen both. So like, I'd love your perspective on the celebrity versus creator. What's similar? What's different? Do you agree with my take? Do you have a different take on it?
I think I would argue that Jake is creative first, that has become so popular he's become a celebrity, but still brought a lot of his community with him. Right. And a lot of W's success is rooted in that community, for sure. Molly certainly has a ton of community behind her as well. So I think like that is beyond the obvious sort of why launch with a creator or a celebrity is like the megaphone of it all and the opening doors, the getting into a Walmart, the getting into a Whole Foods would not happen for a first year or a pre-launch brand if not for, hey, we've got someone who can really support this with marketing dollars that are outsized for the stage of the business.
Right.
And then I think, the drum that's been beaten too much, but it's still worth saying is like authenticity to the product category is essential. They start the ball rolling with community. I think it's on the brand and also on the creator, founder to keep the momentum going. Like launch, everybody loves a launch.
Shut up.
But I think it's like, are these people repeating? Are, they still engaging with the brand 2, 3, 4, 5 months out from launch? It's on my role and then also on Molly's role to keep the drumbeat up, keep it relevant. But it's certainly helpful to have that like community baked in head start. They're not going to stay around forever if it's not worth it.
Right. Sure.
That
makes sense.
So you've been at Impossible Foods, Banza, W, now Ayoh. How do paid marketing tactics, how have they varied across those similar consumer brands, but also in some different industries?
In different times,
different times.
A lot.
Yeah. I would say for Banza, when I was there, it was like super, super early days of like the peak of Facebook advertising.
What were CPMs?
We weren't doing e-com, which we should we were probably kicking ourselves that we didn't have like the right product for that. It was like free. We just should have sold mattresses instead. But we were selling chickpea pasta and retail is now it's hot again, right? But we were very retail first. So we had a super small, I can't remember exactly, but a paid media budget that was targeted towards let's drive retail, right? And we weren't sure if we were doing it or not, but we were getting a ton of comments like, get this in my ShopRite, get this in my Kroger. And then we would take those screenshots and put them on a sales page. So it wasn't like we were printing money the way that, a D2C mattress company was doing it, and certainly didn't have the budgets for that. But that was Banza and how paid fit into that. And then I went to business school for 2 years, wasn't in the marketing function. A lot changed in the 2-3 years from Banza to Sundays, and then Sundays, total D2C engine.
Right.
Learned, I wasn't managing performance. My boss, a guy named Dan King, who just an incredible marketer, founding marketing hire at Ritual, founding marketing hire at MeUndies, knows the D2C game better than anyone I know. So I learned a lot from him and the media mix there. Okay, we've got influencer now as a paid function, not just as a brand awareness function.
So with W, were you doing really any paid, or are you relying on the influencer?
Yeah. A lot of overinvestment on the brand, overinvestment on activating Jake. Some paid, similar to Banza, now with new tools, where new tools like Adgile, for example, where you can have some of that. It's very hard to drive from a digital platform to an in-store purchase and actually track it. But there are more tools now, like an Adgile, than there were back in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Good segue to the next episode.
That's right.
Zac Efron. Him? That's Zach. We got, that's the I just want this better be it. Can we sidebar really quickly?
Sure.
I haven't gotten any of it. I'm still waiting for mine. I'm probably gonna not get it or get someone I don't like, but he has gotten Bradley Cooper and he has gotten Zac Efron. I think that's just a tell. You guys should.
Man, I love New York. There's really no better setting. All right, so just launched nationwide Whole Foods. Just got fresh capital. Tell us about where we're going next.
Well, I'm telling you, putting it all on trucks.
All
baby.
on trucks.
We just launched in Whole Foods nationwide. We're like midway through the rollout process. I think a big focus for the next 2-3 months is going to be like, at least on my side of the business, building out a retail marketing playbook.
Yeah.
And I won't bore your audience with like all the different levers there, but figure
one of them's trucks.
but one of them is trucks, but I won't bore you with the other ones.
That's right.
But just testing a lot of stuff to see what sticks, especially while we have kind of the closest thing to a control group that we can possibly have.
Right.
To really drive velocity in Whole Foods. And I think like that, CPG grocery is about case studies. It's like, it's a what have you done for me lately business,
right?
And what did you do at our competitor business, right? What's your velocity there? And we'll put you, give you a similar placement in this store. So building out that case study and proving it out with like a demo program, some paid dollars, certainly a lot of like brand and organic work with Molly and the channel, and then continuing to just build the brand and like continuing to build the community. I think it's a big piece for us. Like, the product and sandwiches, that's one big focus. And then I think there are I think in sauce more so than anywhere, there's like cult followings.
Right.
You see it a lot in hot sauce too. Like people are obsessed or willing to wear a sriracha shirt, a Cholula, right? Like people are obsessing about sauces. And so investing in brand, trying to make sure that we like show up for our consumer and our community in ways that like are not just product marketing, but having fun with
Man, it'll be interesting growing beyond Molly, right? I think that's gonna be a really interesting thing to tackle as a brand.
For sure. And something like I'm actively tracking is how how did you hear about us survey, for example, even though D2C is not a big thing for us in the future, like where are our customers first hearing about Ayoh? And Molly will always be a big piece of that,
of course,
but I think if the brand is going to be a brand that resonates for a long time, it needs to break escape velocity. And I find that way about like all creative businesses, is that at some point they can't be the megaphone, and at some point you have to kind of learn to walk on your own. And so we're actively tracking that, actively mindful of like how much does she show up in content. But right now it's like she's the workhorse.
She's for sure.
She's the hot hand. She is the hot hand.
All right, you ready for stop number 3?
It's the hot box.
The hot box.
Let's go.
Welcome to the hot box. Want to alternate?
I've got the sweats.
Yeah, Max is drenched because it's so hot.
Let's alternate.
Yeah, you go first.
All right, first question. Do you prefer to give up email or give up Slack?
Ooh, I think I would prefer to give up email. We're a remote team, and so Slack is like our water cooler.
And quicker.
Yeah.
Cold plunge or hot tub?
Hot tub.
Sweet snacks or salty snacks?
Although after this podcast, I feel like this is my first podcast. I feel like, are you a podcaster if you don't cold plunge?
That's true.
I've never done a cold
You gotta
plunge
leave in.
before that, but like, I feel like my essence is more hot tub.
All right, sweet snacks or salty snacks?
Salty.
Sampling in store or influencer unboxings?
Ooh, I have to give up one.
Yeah, pick one.
I have to pick one. I think early days.
No, you pick one. You pick one. You don't get the context. It's the hot box for a reason.
I'm picking influencer. Gifting.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Canva or Figma?
Figma.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
It'd be a lot less hot if this was winter.
Yeah.
All right, what's gonna be more dominant trend, protein or fiber?
In what time frame?
I don't know, 5 years.
I feel like fiber could have a moment. I feel like people we're maxing out on protein, so I'll bet on fiber.
Call on the top.
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah.
Would you rather have telepathy, or be able to teleport?
Wow. I hate flying. Like I have like an irrational fear of flying that I recently developed.
Wow.
If you have a fear of flying out there, I'm here for you. You know, I had some normalizing this. I'm like gripping this. So like, I would love to know what the pilot is thinking.
Oh! Wow, that was wow. I didn't see that one. Neat or messy? Neat or messy?
Neat.
Is it DTC or D2C?
As long as they're buying.
$50 on red or black?
Black.
In-house operations or outsourced agents?
In-house operations.
Board games or video games?
But don't sleep on like the permalance contract.
Yeah, board games or video games?
I don't play enough of them these days, but I'm tempted to buy an Xbox like every other month.
Yeah, it's down.
A great video game.
You'll never do anything ever again.
You have one?
Yeah. They play a lot.
Spotify podcast or Substack deep dive?
Ooh. I'm an Apple podcast guy, but I'm a podcast
All
guy.
right, podcast. All right, I guess. Beach house or ski house?
Beach house.
Work remote or return to the office?
Work remote.
Sunrise or sunset?
It used to be sunset, but now in my later years, it's sunrise, baby.
Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, or TikTok?
I think I'm keeping Instagram.
All right. Pineapple pizza?
Actually,
Not
kill them all.
thing.
Kill them all.
Pineapple pizza or candy corn?
Pineapple pizza.
Live music or DJ?
Live music.
Advertisement or advertisement?
Advertisement.
Call, text, or audio note?
Text.
Give up bread for life or cheese for life? Kind of a hard for your particular category. You give up sandwiches. You give up bread. I think you're probably gonna find. I think you get.
I'm spoon Ayoh to the face.
That thing's wide enough for a straw.
I think I'm giving up bread.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we'll find another way. Another vehicle.
Air guitar or air drums?
Ooh. I think
That's the only time I do air.
or like a don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Does that count?
Yeah. Well,
I think the drums are just more versatile.
start early or leave late.
Leave lit.
Trucks or billboards?
Trucks or billboards? Gotta be trucks. Gotta be trucks.
Say it to the
Gotta be trucks.
to the camera.
If I want
Copy
to exit this one alive.
Receive good news first or bad news first?
Bad news first.
But the bad news is we have come to the end of our.
Ooh.
So we're at the final stop. Stop 4, final stop. Avery, you're a great guest. Thanks so much for coming on. We're excited for Ayoh and where you're going to take it. Where can people find you? Where can they find Ayoh? Shill yourself.
I would say Whole Foods Market. Your local Whole Foods Market.
All doors.
All doors for Ayoh. I will be very often camped out at the 97th Street Whole Foods doing demos. That's where you can find me. I'm not really a big poster, although I will reshare this.
Thank you.
But
It's actually required.
don't find me.
All right. That's the show.
Awesome.